Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you see me properly? Am I in the frame?
Yeah. Perfect now.
All right.
Okay. So for those of you guys who are actually joining us, we were discussing, we were having a conversation regarding some really FAQs based on fitness, right? And Umar had some questions, and I had some questions for Umar, so we are just going to talk about it. Awesome, Umar.
Should I start with
start.
my questions?
Yes.
All right,
please.
amazing. So, Kunal, as you know, the gyms have been shut since a very, very long time. And I recently started going to the gym for gains, apparently. And I found out that the difference between this whole functional and the whole body weight training and the machines is that getting the bulk, the kind of stimulus, was way easier with the machines than it is with a regular push-up or with body weight movements. Although these are effective as well, I'm finding them very, very effective, but the gains are not there, and whatever I had are like going down. So what's your suggestion here? What's the overview? Can you give us like a little bit of guidance in this whole situation?
See, like, you should have priorities, first of all, right? When it comes to maintaining muscle mass, make sure that your first priority is maintaining your fitness levels as much as possible, right? That means you keep moving as much as possible. When I say moving, that means getting in a couple of workouts in it's like in the 3-day span or something like that. Or then maintaining a decent diet, because a lot of us, because we are at a place where mentally we are so locked in, and mentally we are like drained out because there's so much of negativity outside. There's so much of things which are going out outside. We end up comforting ourselves with food, right? And which is like a proper human behavior. If you feel that if you feel that you're not feeling good, you'll end up eating good food to make yourself feel better. And that happens with like sweet desserts and whatever. So these are like comfort foods. So you want to make sure that even if you're having your comfort food, you're burning them off. Even if you're having some kind of food which is not going to help your fitness levels, make sure that your protein, or at least the required calories to sustain those kind of muscles that you've been built in these times is coming in. And then you need to figure out a way to maintain a routine that you can continue. In order to do so, you have to make sure that you fall in love with that entire workout regime, right? And that is one thing that a lot of us, we kind of miss. We end up following a lot of other things on Instagram. For example, my workouts also. If you don't love what me as a content creator is providing outside, or me as somebody who is like just putting out stuff, if you don't like the workout which I'm doing, and you're forcing yourself to do those workouts, you won't be able to maintain that kind of consistency. So you want to make sure that you find something that you love, and you want to make sure that you end up keeping your fitness journey throughout this entire thing. When it comes to like muscle mass and stuff like that, there is going to be some amount of muscle loss, because you won't be able to recreate that kind of stimulus that you would be doing at the gym. But yeah, like as I said, right, beggars can't be choosers. So you just have to make sure that nice clothes, man. Okay. You just want to make sure that you do whatever you can while maintaining sanity as much as possible. So yeah.
Right. So that's good. So like create a workout routine that we can follow, and majorly to maintain what we had is the nutrition part where, that comes in, right?
Yeah.
To kind of sum it up.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Now, one other question that I had was, it's pretty basic. So what helps more in these times? If I want to build muscle, would it be like the random 100 push-ups, or would it rather be 20 push-ups with more time of tension on the same amount of muscles?
You need to like switch it up here and there, right? How many push-ups are you going to do in the end? If you do like even if you end up doing like 100 push-ups, or even if you end up doing push-ups for like 8 seconds down and 2 seconds up and stuff like that,
right,
how long are you going to sustain it, and how much pressure are you going to, or how much breakdown for a similar muscle group are you going to expose that muscles to, right? So you have to make sure that you end up keep switching it and you end up giving enough rest also. Uh, the best way that I find in order to make sure that I am sustaining the amount of muscle mass that I have is doing a lot of endurance work and switching up with a lot of stretching and HIIT work in between. Because I can't do strength work unless and until I have good amount of weight. And the thing with strength is it requires some additional weight. So you have to make sure that you have some kind of weight with you. Of course, eccentric and going towards the gravity slowly and stuff like that is going to work on your strength. But it's only going to work to a point where you can actually, I mean, it's like 20-30% of the things that you're going to do in the gym.
Right. Agreed. That's good enough. Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to disconnect my earphones because I've put the recorder on, and the phone needs to hear you to record this.
Okay.
Able to you now?
Somebody is asking. Yep. But I'm echoing. Once.
So should I put these on again? Have to wear it back. Okay, 1 second. Just hold on. Sorry.
This is much better. Yep.
All right. Yeah. So you had a question. Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody's asking that does muscle size determine your muscle strength? That's Shreyas. Shreyas works out with us in the morning for the live sessions.
Amazing.
Shreyas, no, dude. I mean, you look at the best power lifters. If you don't know what powerlifting is, or if you don't know what professional weightlifting is, it's basically it works on your weight categories, right? Like there are different weight categories, and within those weight categories, people try and compete and try to lift as heavy as possible. Now, the beauty is, a person who's like 65 kg or a person who's like 68 kg can end up lifting like thrice or even 4 times or even 5 times his body weight in like all the 3 lifts or even the 2 major lifts like the clean and jerks and like snatches. So the strength can only be determined the amount of exposure that your muscles have had over the period of time. For example, if my muscles are exposed to that kind of movement and the kind of proprioception that my muscle have with all that kind of working out over the years and the rate of contraction and the rate of extension that my muscle has, no matter what the size is, that determines the strength of the muscle. So even if a guy is like skinny, that person can lift around 300 kgs or like even 260 kgs of deadlifts. And I've seen that person. I've seen people doing that. So yeah, muscle size does not determine muscle strength.
Sorry, we have one more question that we missed during our discussion. Moto Vibes only has asked that. So the question is, I have a ligament injury in my right leg. What can I do to keep myself fit? Are you going to take this or?
Honestly, see, the thing with injuries is people don't realize that they really, any kind of ligament means you have had ligament injury, right? You have your meniscus, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, professionals, for example, me as a fitness professional, right? I need to make sure that I know the history behind that injury. I need to make sure that I know the person's doctor, and I should have had a word with that person's doctor and know that what kind of recovery that person has had and what kind of prehab or rehab that person has been doing. If I don't know about all those things, I won't be able to suggest anything to that person. If like that person can be like extremely like seriously injured, that person can be like mildly injured, but whatever it is, honestly, no matter what you're doing, just make sure that you're not focusing on that injury as much as possible, and you can do whatever other body part that you have and like focus on that. Or, like focus on unilateral training for your legs, focus on like upper body training for your upper body and stuff like that.
Just to kind of add to that, Moto Vibes only, I had a meniscus grade 2 tear, I think 1.5 years back, and I still play football. I recently played a tournament in Greece which was an international level tournament. So, like Kunal mentioned, it really depends on what kind of injury you have right now. I mean, when you mention ligament, which ligament is the injury? What does your physiotherapist or your doctor has to say about it? That is after the trainer comes into the perspective. That is when we can actually guide you. After speaking with your doctor, we cannot really, put in our perspective here, unless and until we know the whole history and stuff behind it. But yeah, I've been training with this guy right here for a while now. Even with my injury, it's completely fine. But he knows the whole, the start to end, the A to Z of that injury. So that's how we train, considering all the risk factors.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Mr. Boov.
Yeah. You have one more question. Is difference between strength and power is time?
No, it's the rate of contraction of your muscles. I hope that answered your question.
Nice. For me, yes. Okay, yeah. So hypertrophy is done. Would you like to move to the other topic that we thought of?
Yeah. Please.
So, Kunal, I mean, honestly, like I told, like I said, it's very difficult to find inspiration in these times, and life is like very fatigued up, all lazy, I sometimes look to the internet to find inspiration. I go to your account, I go to a couple of other coaches whom I know are really good. But then I also see a lot of random people who are influencers in different fields, who are experts in different fields, posting their workouts and asking people to try those. Now, by working with you for 2 years now, I have some basic amount of knowledge that tells me that certain movements are not to be done repetitively or one behind the other, that can cause some serious injuries, or certain movements are not for some people. And these kinds of things are not being put out there, rather than just being, they're making a fancy workout. It's really, really hardcore, and they're just sticking it to you like a prasad. Ye lo mere wala kha kar dekho. So what is your what is your thought on this? Why, and what can we do about this?
I think there is an upside.
See, when I join into your workouts, I know you as a coach. I know other people, some other coaches who are really, really good. I can sort of reverse engineer that workout. I know what muscles it's working and what's the output of it. Whereas the other workouts that I'm talking about, they're like completely random, just a couple of high intensity movements mixed together and being given out. So,
see, that's the thing, right? I mean, most of the people that we are talking about here, means it has a positive side and a negative side. I mean, the positive side is they're creating awareness for fitness as much as possible for people that we couldn't create awareness to, right? They are spreading the love for fitness, and they are showing people that, hey, being healthy is good, being healthy, this is what you can do, and stuff like that. I mean, that is my optimistic perception to what these guys have been doing. Now, over the period of time, what I've realized is, like, you can't control people's choice, and you can't control what they want to follow, right? Most of the people, even if you try to go out and educate them that, listen, this is not the best thing for you, and you shouldn't be doing this. This is too intense for you. You shouldn't be doing this. They would want to do it. They would want to know it by themselves. They either want to test it out, and then after getting an experience and getting exposed to all these kind of workouts which are not suitable for them, then they want to try your thing. So when it comes to this, I think that for people who are providing legit information, and for people who are providing information which is really going to help them in the most scientific and the most efficient way, I think the only thing that we can do is just wait and watch and just see that if that person who is going to be the consumer by the end of it comes around and tries to take information.
Hopefully educated, yes.
Right. Yeah. That is it. Hey, Sarah is on. Sarah, hi.
Hi, Sarah. That's an amazing way to go about it, man. I mean, let them be, kind of figure out, and then
And that's the thing, right? I mean, when I started live sessions in the morning, also, literally there was this one workout, the second workout or something. I had 18 people on my live doing it.
Okay.
And since then, those 18 people who were doing it have been doing it in the longest time. I mean, it's been 3 weeks now. Today we had 100 and 120 people or something. 160 people joined in because Varsha was also there. And
I saw. I was there.
Yeah. See, and the thing is, because they enjoy those kind of things and because they understand that, okay, this is something that is legit and this is something that has been programmed in a way that has been thought after and that has been like
Perfect.
really, yeah. So only then they realize that, okay, now I can actually do this. But in order to make sure that you're getting in the people, you can, means you're doing a lot of things, means I'm doing a lot of things. So yeah, that is happening. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, definitely did, and it's kind of changed my perspective towards thing, which is what I wanted. So there is one more question, and also there's this guy called Ayan6687. I don't know if you can see him. I want to tell you that this guy is a 14-year-old. He is the guy whom I was training for judo. I told you about him, and then he went on and won like a couple of tournaments. And so yeah, shout out to this little kid who works really hard and wants to represent India in judo someday. Ayan, keep up the good work, man. Really proud of what you're doing. I hope you're training at home. Kunal, do you have other questions here?
Yeah.
What is it?
Like I said, is progressive overload only
Progressive overload.
See, I mean, there are like different school of thoughts. One of the most commonly used is progressive overload. That is basically you end up loading your lifts over the period of time to the point that you end up reaching your maximum amount of percentage. Then you deload and then you try hitting 1 rep max and then you do it again. Okay. Now,
Right.
you again, if you go down the rabbit hole, you'll understand that okay, there is when it comes to hypertrophy, there is like Y3T, there is something that Chris Creighton did, which is like DTP. Again, I'm like super outdated when it comes to hypertrophy school of thoughts. There is Dorian Yates wala method. There is Mike Menzer wala method, which is like completely different, but at the same time, it has worked. The only reason why they have worked is because they are making sure that they are working on the same muscle group in different intensity over a different period of time, and they're not making that muscle adapt or expose that muscle enough to the point that that muscle gets adapted to a similar routine. So the best way to make sure that your strength or your hypertrophy is increasing is to make sure that you try different school of thoughts and see what works better for you. Then take a step back, try different thing, and then come back to something that you end up loving again.
And if you're following a program, it's important that you give it a month or two, right? To kind of give it results to you.
6 weeks, 8 weeks, yes. Like 1.5
So
months.
1.5 months or 2 months, yeah. So it's not, it's a matter of patience then. It's trial and error with patience.
It's also common sense, right? You won't be able to see any kind of radical change in a matter of like 3 weeks. I mean, you're just going to hit one muscle like thrice. Think of it like that, right? Like you want to make sure that you are exposing it for at least around 8 times or 10 times of proper training. So that's why most of the training programs that we also end up doing in the movement are like for 12 weeks, like 16 weeks, which is extremely long, which requires massive amounts of commitment. But at the same time, those programs end up giving proper results also. And that is why, I mean, those programs work because it requires time commitment and it is like scientifically proven.
Right. Okay, you have. Do you want to take questions right now, or do you want to discuss further and then take the questions on?
No, we can take questions afterwards, huh?
I don't mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, lockdown time, gyms are shut, studios are shut. You're taking your amazing sessions online that I join in. What is? I mean, what would your suggestion be to other fitness people out there, including myself here? I mean, I work with you. You know me better than I think the other guys.
See, like, okay, like to give you an example, the industries which are going to be like going to suffer a lot is going to be something that people don't hold as priority in this country, right? Fitness is one of those things. Like, simple. But people who love fitness, of course, will end up doing the proper sessions and stuff like that. But at the same time, you won't have new people coming through the door. You won't have the business that we had earlier. At least for till the time that there is not a legitimate vaccine out there. And which is going to take, that is going to take a long time, to be honest. So now here's here's the entire scenario. That being said, you also have to uh, understand that uh, during this time and the time where the vaccine comes in, wait a second. Yeah. Yeah. During this time and the time where the vaccine comes in, you also have to fight, or you also have to compete, or you also have to stay relevant with people who are providing information like massively, who are providing services at like free, because they're also wanting to stay relevant. They're also wanting to make sure that they are putting themselves out, and they also want to cater to audience that they want to create in the future, right? So coming back to what you as a fitness professional, or you as any professional for that matter, can do is making sure that you are doing something which is completely different from what everybody has been doing. Like there's no point doing the same thing. For example, uh, say for example, I started working, means I started the live workouts like 3 weeks ago, right? Then there are like different people starting their workouts and stuff like that. I mean, that is amazing. But at the same time, the novelty factor of the entire live workout session will kind of dissipate, because will kind of won't have that kind of weightage if you are doing up being the third or fourth person. Is because people are like used to it. But they'll be like, okay, you know what? That person did it first, and that person has been going on since that thing, and that person has that kind of clout or that kind of following. So I might as well just focus on those things. Unless you don't have a following, you won't be able to gather that kind of audience. So you want to make sure that you're doing something which is completely different. And that being said, I mean, you as, for example, you as a subject over here, you can do a lot of things. I've spoken to you about. Nobody, I think, that is doing football-based workouts. Nobody I know that in this entire whatever small community there is doing something which is like agility-based workouts and stuff like that. So I think you can actually focus on that. Of course, fitness gives you enough verticals, and fitness gives you enough leg space to do a lot of other things. And you want to make sure that you're exploring something that is your own niche. Unless until you don't find your niche, they won't be able to do, means you won't be able to hold relevance in the longer period of time. So yeah,
Right. Oh,
I hope
that's
that answers
amazing.
it.
That's actually, yeah, it does. I mean, you have to have your own uniqueness that is there. Otherwise, it's just basically making dalgona coffee like everyone else.
And the community is very small, right? People who
Yeah,
follow you
yeah,
will also follow me, and people who are following
yeah.
us will follow the same 10 other trainers that we know, who are in the
Right,
community. And if all of us are
right,
doing the same thing, the value of the
right,
product that we all are sharing, or the information that we
right.
all are sharing, will kind of diminish over the period of time. So if you want to make sure that you're having that kind of impact and that kind of relevance, you want to do something different.
To speed and agility was definitely a good idea. The reason why I was stuck was I was kind of hesitant about the fact that will everybody have a football to do a football based workout.
Dude,
That is also one of the
even if two people are doing it, they're doing it, right? That is it.
yeah
Eventually, those two people will end up getting. And the thing is, if your product is good, if your services are good, they will make sure that you are means they are putting you out there. They will make sure that they're talking about you in that circle of friends, and that is going to make sure. Means we have spoken about this, right? The reason why movement doesn't have marketing is because we end up making sure that people who end up coming over here, it's an underground thing. Like people who really want to make sure that they want our friends to come in, they talk about it. So you want to see there's this one person is going to do it. See, so
hey Jaideep.
so exactly, like you want to do something which is like completely different, and you want to make sure that even if you're catering to one person or two people or three people, you do and you give every single ounce of energy that you have in that particular session. Eventually,
Mm-hmm.
like after a week, after a couple of weeks, after a month, you'll see people increasing over the period of time. It's like only about people are going to sustain themselves over the longer run.
Right, right. No, that's good. That's good. So I also kind of worked on. This is not a plugin. I'm just letting you know. As you saw some of the videos, did you like the videos that I made?
I told you also, right? Like amazing amount of effort that you've been putting in, an amazing amount of uh, content that you are creating. The only thing is like you want to make sure that you're putting it out there. At the same time, think of the amount of time that you're putting in creating that content. You told me that you're taking 3 to 4 days in making one video.
It
Right?
is. It is. It is. Yes.
So I think Instagram, because of the Namrata, what's up?
Hey, Namrata.
Because of the algorithm of Instagram, it's not going to help you, man. Like the only place that you would want to, you would want to go to YouTube and do something about it. That is the place to be, not this one.
But topics wise and concept wise, do you like it? So I covered physical wellness, basically how to keep moving and not get aches and pains in your joints and stuff. I covered how an athlete in Italy is doing it and how we can do it as athletes, so we can kind of get some inspiration. Next up, I'm thinking of mental wellness. What do you think about that? In times like these, I think people are like frustrated and anxious about things and worried about jobs and all that. So I think mental wellness plays an important role. What do you think about that?
I think, I mean, if Namrata is here, I mean, a lot of people really are sensitive at these time, right? And the reason why I'm saying Namrata is because we've had that kind of conversation. And the thing is, your mental role plays so much in having a proper physical fitness levels also. So you want to make sure that you're focusing on that, because if you're not feeling mentally well, you won't be able to move properly. And if you're not being able to move properly, eventually you'll not be able to feel mentally well. So it's basically a vicious circle, right? And the thing is, it's easier to counter physical aspect of it, but mental is something that is really very difficult because it's very subjective.
Agreed.
It's a very unique to people who are suffering from it. So I think that is an amazing thing that you can actually do.
Your advice on the whole YouTube thing was actually perfect, because when I sat and thought about it, it actually made a lot of sense. The only issue is that I'll have to reformat the videos for YouTube because these were vertical for IGTV. So hopefully I can do that. But yeah, that helped a lot. That was something that I did not think of at all. I mean, it's quite simple. I should have thought of it. But thank you so much for that. Thank you so much.
YouTube, man, I really hope if I end up doing something which is like long format based, I would want to go to YouTube. But it really takes a lot of time and really takes a lot of commitment.
Yeah. It does. It does take like 3 to 4 days easy.
So, yeah, man. Yeah. And like if you have like a small business of yourself and you want to do whatever you are doing in life, you won't be able to do that. And
no, like, you won't. Because once this,
And like hats off to people who are doing it, man. Like it's crazy the amount of energy that they end up putting in and the amount of hard work that they end up putting in creating video-based content. It's crazy. So like I can't do it unless and until I have
even I'm not sure. Yeah.
But yeah, like you'll figure out if you have that kind of drive. And necessity is the mother of all inventions, to be honest. So you'll figure out. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, once the whole thing starts, once movement starts, once our session starts, I don't know if I'll have the time to even record videos and stuff. But yeah, let's see how that goes.
Oh man, I really hope it starts very soon. Let's see.
And it will, man. It will for sure.
So
you नहीं तो ऐसे live. So you have questions. Naman Burani asks how to accommodate clean jerks and snatches to push-pull leg splits.
How to accommodate clean and jerks.
These are different types of workouts, right? One is a strength workout, one is a power workout.
Yeah, and people don't realize that. I mean, it's a very...
These are like two very different categories, aren't they? I mean, strength, power, and strength.
And that is something that these guys need to understand, right? I mean, clean and jerks and say snatches are like power-based workouts. Push-pull in legs is like hypertrophy workout. And of course, when you're doing clean and jerks, you're working on your entire body, predominantly your posterior chain, predominantly your legs and your core and your shoulders extensively. And if you're focusing on that, then the amount of energy that it requires, the amount of like like the muscle engagement that it requires is like massive. So either you just focus on clean and jerks and snatches and then end up doing accessory work, which will be like leg based workouts or like something else and something else. Or you end up just doing CrossFit based workouts, which are like amalgamation of all these things, and then working out with a proper programming. But if you're doing hypertrophy, or let's say if you're doing strength, or let's say if you're muscles workouts, and let's say it really makes no sense. You will be like running around in circles. It really makes no sense.
Right. So focus on either the power movements or focus on strength at one point of time, or at least for the course of program.
Yeah, and that's why we end up focusing on a lot of like block programming, right? So you focus on strength first, then you focus on hypertrophy, then you focus on say endurance, then you focus on like extremely short burst of power, then you deload, then you start again, then you do conditioning and stuff like that. So you want to make sure that your routine is ever changing. But if you're doing something which is like mix matching and like basically creating a soup out of nothing, it really makes no sense.
That's a very good example to give an idea. Yeah. Your next question is how to take care of knee health if facing pain during squats. Can you throw some light to it?
Now I'm going to strictly speak from my experience. Okay.
Your voice is kind of lagging. Kind of like going and coming back. So no, now it's better. Now
so is yours.
Right now it's better.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to strictly speak from people who I have trained. Most of the time, your knee ends up hurting is not because of your bad knee health, because most of us are like who are actually following me. I've looked at the like insights and stuff like that. Most of the people who are following me are like super young. Now I'm taking you as a young person. If you have a bad knee, is either because of your form, either because of mostly it's because of your form, mostly because you're overtraining, or your shoes are weird, or your muscles from your posterior chain.
You're breaking up, Kunal. You're breaking up like completely. Am I clear to you when I say this? Is my voice breaking at all?
Wait a second, huh? Like now, is it okay? No.
There is a slight lag in your video and audio.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
अभी सुनाई दे रहा है?
Must.
Okay, awesome. Or mostly because your muscles, for example, your locus stabilizers, that like your piriformis or your hip flexors or your deep gluteal muscles or even your calves for some time. If that is something that is extremely tight, that also affects your knee health because the muscle surrounding it is also always tight, right? So that decreases your range of motion over the period of time. And if that is happening, then your knee ends up hurting a lot. So just assess it, diagnose it from a professional or from a trainer or somebody who is like well versed with movement, and then that person can actually help you. Again, but for me, it's extremely difficult being a person who is just sitting behind in front of a camera speaking to my phone to assess what kind of problems you have. But this is coming from my experience. Okay. You can hear me. You can hear me just fine.
Guys, these guys can hear you. Please let him go. Please let him be.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. Guys. All right. So, are protein powders healthy?
Protein? Just plant protein powders.
No, plant protein was someone else. I think that's the next question. This one is from Zara, and she asks, are protein powders healthy?
Of course, man. I mean, it depends if it's real or not. Like, apparently, this one study, that around 87% of the proper supplements that are imported in India or that are sold in India are fake, like legit. And that is like it's overwhelming, right? And to think of it, you that's why you need to make sure that you're getting your protein from the right source. I don't know if there is a right source, but for me, this vegan protein brand, Ace Blend, they came up to us. I mean, Omar also, but they came up to me 3 years ago or like 2.5 years ago, and they wanted to like collaborate for some reason and stuff like that. And I tried their protein. It tasted like whatever, but at the same time, the taste grew on me, and the kind of physical changes that I've had ever since. There's no bloating at all. There is amazing amount of absorption rate, and the kind of recovery that I've had because of all the macros and the micros in it has been amazing. So I think that vegan protein really works well. Ace Blend.
If I may just add to it, I know this person personally, and she's I think 14 or 15 years old. So Zara, I think it also depends on what your goal is right now, and if you're not able to get that kind of protein from your solid foods, then is when you need it. Otherwise, if you're actually getting that kind of protein from your food, then supplement is finally a supplement. It's an add-on. It's not majorly something that will cover for everything, right? So again, figure out the goals and see if you need your protein for that, and then maybe go about it. Coming to your question, if it's healthy, yeah, definitely. If it's not in that 87%, that's the fake one.
Yeah, man. I'll upload
Fingers fingers crossed. Yeah. You should definitely share that study with us.
But yeah, like most of the like it's India, to be honest, man. Like this is it's our country. Like we are proud of it, but we know how fake things can get over here.
Right.
Apparently, New Life has a good importer. He is a good importer,
Okay.
so I think
New
protein
Life.
coming from New Life, yeah, like, is legit. My protein apparently is amazing, like because they have their own center who's importing it, and now they have like massive go down somewhere in India. So I think those are some people who I end up importing legit protein powders. So unless and until the proteins are good, like yeah,
All right.
my protein is recent. How many years?
Okay, you have more.
Yeah.
You have how many years? But before that, one sec. Kunal, I had a slip disc. It doesn't hurt as before now, but I feel it a bit. How can I bulk up? Bro, that's like 4 or 5 questions together. Uh, you gotta ask one, and these are all like different questions.
If you had a slip disc, I hope you have recovered now. I hope you have been doing a proper rehab workouts and like rehab exercises over the period of time. It doesn't hurt as much, so that is good. I still feel it a bit, so which is very contrary to the things that you said earlier. How can I bulk up and work on hypertrophy? The thing with hypertrophy is, see, if you're doing any kind of like impactful movement which are like overhead, that is really going to affect your spine a lot, right? Because if you're doing like extremely heavy overhead presses, if you're doing extremely overhead, say for example, overhead squats, if you're doing back squats also, which is like sheer pressure on your spine, you would want to avoid that. Okay. Instead of that, you would want to do something which is going to be less strenuous, but are kind of stimulating the same muscle groups. For example, if you want to work on your shoulders, rather than working on like heavy presses, work on lateral raises, work on front raises, work on like rear delts. If you want to focus on your legs, work on like extension, work on your hamstrings, like curls and stuff like that. So you always have options if you want to work on your hypertrophy. But again, I don't know at what point of recovery you are at. So I can just suggest you this one, that just focus on things that are not very impactful on your spine. Again, contrary to popular belief, deadlift is much more safer than a back squat when you have a slip disc. If you're doing it with a decent amount of weight, like a proper weight and a proper form.
Okay, thank you for answering all of those. That makes sense. A lot of sense. Next up for you is by Tanishk. What would be better to have for home workouts, kettlebell or exercise bands, or both? Could you recommend any website where to buy them?
Kettlebells are something that you should be buying like straight up when the market opens. It is phenomenal piece of equipment that you can do a lot of things with. Your headphones.
Headphones. 1 second, I don't know.
Okay, Shweta, hi. I miss you. Do a live session with me sometime. Okay, Oman went somewhere. Cool. Kunal, sir, what is your take on creatine? Creatine is an amazing supplement, probably the most researched supplement there is. So you should be definitely taking it. Don't load it. Just keep taking 3 grams.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now it's much better.
Yeah, I'm sorry when the internet goes. I mean, it's fluctuating a little bit. Might be my internet.
No problem. Okay.
Hi, Shweta.
My battery is like 5%. We are going to go off in the next 3 minutes or 4 minutes. Okay. So if you have any questions, please ask. Yeah, creatine, please. The most researched supplement, apparently the most researched supplement there is. Creatine monohydrate works very well. I have been asking people, I have been recommending people to take creatine because when I was starting my fitness journey, it basically changed the way that my body looked. It changed my strength levels. It changed my perception to fitness because the visible changes were so much in the first couple of weeks. So take creatine, but just keep having a lot of water, at least around 4 liters or 4.5 liters. Like this sounds like bro science, but it actually works. Your take on plant-based diet, also plant-based protein powder like pea, rice, and soy. The thing with plant-based diet, I'm not a big fan. I don't think that I can actually get enough amounts of protein in or to sustain the kind of workouts that I've been doing and to recover well. So it's I'm not a vegan. I have never done a plant-based diet, so I'm not the best person to talk about it. When it comes to plant-based proteins, all the proteins that are plant-based, they lack in certain amino acids. For example, soy would have only certain amount of amino acids. There are some apparently 27, if I'm not wrong, 27 or 29 amino acids that are required. Now, all of these proteins, for example, soy-based proteins or pea-based proteins or rice proteins, they have amino acids, but they don't have all of them. So that's why you need something which is like blended. And like Ace blend or I don't know, like other protein blend, unless and until they are not blended proteins, plant-based proteins, they won't have enough amino acids to sustain the amount of muscle growth that you have. I hope that answered your question. Can you tell me about your diet which you take on daily basis? Okay, I'm going to like be very honest with it. Subah I wake up, I have glucose biscuit and chai.
Chai.
Like legit. Okay, and then yes, then I have chocos and milk. Then I have one peanut butter and bread. Then I have my coffee. Then I have whatever my mom makes because I have no other option. Then I have peanut butter and bread again, and then I try to take in one protein. This thing now it's like gone, so I don't even have that. And then again, whatever my house has. Like as I said, right, beggars can't be choosers, so that is what I'm doing.
I agree. What's this question about how to build incredible strength? What's the, how are you gonna answer that? That's an interesting one. That's a very interesting one.
Dude, this is the thing, right? I mean, the thing with strength is it requires so much amount of time and so much amount of hard work and so much amount of exposure. It's not even funny. And the reason why so many people are visibly strong and they can lift massive amounts of weight is because these guys either are genetically gifted, which are like, we are talking about like a fraction of the population who actually works out, or people who have been working out since the longest time. Okay. Unless and until you are not in either of those groups, you won't be having incredible amount of strength for sure. So if you don't have like the genes to support it, just keep working hard, man. And like we'll meet in the next 3 or 4 years, hopefully. Any suggestions for your weak group of muscles? That is biceps. I think just keep exposing them to the kind of stimulus that you would want to make them like grow them with. Like for example, bicep curls, pull-ups, a lot of pull-ups, and like focus on the bigger group of muscles that these guys act supplementary to. For example, if I'm doing a lot of rows, if I'm doing a lot of lat pull downs, if I'm doing a lot of pull-ups, then these guys are working as it is. And if I end up supplementing it with like heavy bicep curls and stuff like that, then I think my biceps will end up growing. I don't do any of those. To say, uh,
Creatine hair loss risk.
no, none, zero, nada, zilch. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but it didn't happen to me, so I can safely say it. I have basically tried all the supplements that there is, mostly all the supplements there is. So I don't think they have any kind of hair loss problem. Wait a second. Huh?
Yeah. So Kunal, now
Awesome.
one question from my end. One question from my end. It's been really long since we did an HIT together because I've been coaching by your side, and whenever I'm at your session, I'm coaching only, right? So let's do a workout together. What do you say?
Yeah, man. Next week.
For
Next week.
old time's sake.
Yeah, for sure. Next week I am totally in. This is what I've been doing. Right, I've been trying to talk and I've been trying to get in people from different walks of life.
Yeah.
Who people who don't work out or people who work out a lot.
Right.
So that's why. That's why you are going to come into the people who work out a lot. And let's see how it actually goes, man. Like I'm super happy with the live sessions which are happening.
Yeah, man.
Where should
So
I
am
go?
I. So am I. They're amazing.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Parag Shetty.
Parag.
Yeah.
Parag
You want,
Shetty.
you've been doing a lot of certifications. Now you want to answer that?
So, guys, a lot of certifications, no. So, fitness certifications, one second, Parag. Yeah, so Parag, there is NSA, there is ACSM, there is K11. You have a lot of options to do these certifications with different price ranges, depending if they're online or if they're in a classroom. You could choose either. I mean, the knowledge is more or less the same. Now, I chose ACSM because I did my research and here Kunal also helped me. The fact is that ACSM is globally recognized, and if I decide to move to another country, I will still have a certification. Unlike the rest of my education from Mumbai University, I will need more. So if I move to the UK tomorrow, I will need a degree from the UK to kind of work in the UK. That's one of the rules. Although there are exceptions that are made, I'm not saying it's necessary, but the ACSM course kind of makes it safe for me to move it and start a trainer's job right then and there. I don't need to do another course when I move to the UK or Canada or wherever. So that's why I'm doing it from the ACSM. You can do it from ACSM, NSA, wherever you like, depending on the content and how they sell it to you also.
Yeah. I mean, if money is not a concern, then you have a lot of other options, man. And like, honestly, just make sure that you do your basic certification, as I said, and then you figure out what your niche is. There are different verticals in fitness. There is kettlebell, there is like CrossFit, there is yoga, there is Zumba, there is so on and so forth. Like I can actually just keep going on about it. So figure out what is something that you love doing, figure out something that you're passionate about, and then do the certification in that particular thing. But personal training, lockdown apparently, like it's crowded down, man. Yeah. So personal training course is like super important. ACSM is certified. This is the best way to go about it. Super simple, super accessible, and you have like a brilliant faculty. Faculty is brilliant, right? I don't know.
Faculty is amazing. No, it's amazing. It's amazing, man. It's too good. Plus, I have you, luckily, to answer the rest of my questions.
Oh, do you like the cult format of training? How it is compared to traditional gyms? Dude, I'll be very honest, okay? Like, honestly, very honest. The thing is, cult revolutionized the way that fitness is perceived in this country. Okay, there wasn't a cult in uh, if there wasn't a cult in this country, uh, mostly you wouldn't be aware of what fitness is, because it basically made sure that fitness became mainstream. So I honestly don't know what the format is of cult, but whatever. Like, I don't even know what kind of training that they offer at cult. I don't want to know. What I do know is I would want to be an optimist, and I would want to see the positive sides of what cult has done to this entire industry. And it has been amazing. It has been amazing because uh, for the worse or for the better, people end up going over there, and people either they like it, either they don't like it. If they like it, they stick around. If they don't like it, they end up trying different options, which is basically what we are doing, because we are the different options. And then they realize that, okay, this is something that I can actually jam with, and that is something that I love. So yeah, cult is basically the one that actually brought fitness to mainstream people, and I think that I can actually be thankful for them. Whatever the training program is, I have no idea about it. Okay.
Juan says hello. Juan is the manager of London International Futsal Club. I've played for his team for a while, and
Juan.
hopefully we'll be playing more league. He's an amazing guy. Hi, Juan. Yep.
He's from London. I hope everything is decent in London. I hope.
Yeah. I spoke with him about it. It's yeah.
Yeah. Boris Johnson is out of this thing now. How's ICU now?
Yeah. Boris is out.
Okay. One last question, guys. Then I have to bounce. If you have anything, just let me know. I have one for Umar. Umar, where do you see fitness in the next immediate 6 months?
Sorry, I could not hear you. Honestly, it's breaking a little bit. Can you go again?
I asked, where do you see fitness in the immediate 6 months?
In the immediate 6 months, it's a very interesting question. In the immediate 6 months. So the thing is, group classes is something that holds a lot of people together, right? 8 to 10 people. So that I think is not gonna pick up a lot. But the good thing about the influencer part that I mentioned and that you spoke about is that now there is a whole new fitness is trending now. Basically, fitness at home is trending now. So I think online sessions are gonna work a lot. And yeah, everything is tech based right now. So I think online sessions are going to work a lot. The more people come up with, no equipment based sessions at home, things that you can do with a water bottle or things that you can do with socks or whatever, I think that's going to work a lot because for everyone, before being fit, being alive is a priority. So people are going to not go to the gym, including myself. Although I was chasing the goal of bulking up really soon, but I'm not going to go to the gym really soon, even if the lockdown opens up. I'm still going to work out at home or at my terrace. So I think online is the new thing, man. Online is going to work a lot. Digital is the new shiz.
Yeah, I mean that was going to happen sooner or later. This just became a catalyst for the entire industry to go and switch from physical plane to the digital plane. But at the same time,
Right.
that's the entire conversation, right? Unless and until people are going to be out there and people are going to provide not so good information about fitness, and they are going to expose fitness to the point that people lose their trust to fitness. I hope that doesn't happen. But if that is not going to happen, then I see people really getting really good at this online training platform. And also, I think that for coaches who might be over here and who might be listening to this, if you guys are doing your online training thing, make sure that you be as creative as possible and make sure that it's not only on paper. Make sure that you end up doing those workouts by yourself. The only reason why my workouts have been liked by most of the people who are over here, all 29 of you guys, but it's the only reason why that is happening is because I have been doing these workouts since forever. Means I grew up at a very limited space, and I grew up with an environment which didn't have a lot of weights. So I have been doing these workouts, and I've been very creative, and I know how the workouts work at what intensity. So I know the things around this thing, and I've like वो कहते हैं ना कि गोल के पिया ये पूरा ये बॉडी वेट वर्कआउट वाला सीन. तो if you are doing this, just don't do it just because it looks good on paper. Make sure that you know what you're doing, and make sure that you stay true to yourself. And before exposing your clients to it, do it yourself and kind of understand where this workout is, or what bad can happen and what good things can happen. So yeah, I think that is about it. Guys, I'm going to see you. My battery is super low. I had charged it considerably, but this was a long conversation.
It took an hour.
It was an hour? Okay, awesome.
It was an hour, bro. We started at 5 and it's 6:08 now. It was an hour and 8 minutes. It went on for a really long time.
Cool. We are doing decent. Awesome.
We're doing good. We're doing good.
Okay. Awesome, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And bye. Bye, Umar, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this, Kunal. Let's do this again soon, hopefully.
Soon.
If you're up for it. Yeah.
Yep.